Hey folks, we are going to continue working on the Eberron adventure, Crystals of Mabar. So I am going to check my signal, go through my intro spiel, and then we're going to continue working on the village map. So hey, if if you're in the future, you can skip ahead like maybe a minute or two, and we'll dive into what we're actually doing for the day. But I'm going to go through a spiel for a little bit here. So if you're new to the channel, you can listen to me rant if you're interested. Otherwise, in the future, you can just skip ahead. Let's see. In the future, you can just skip ahead. Cool. All right. So it sounds like my signal is coming through loud and clear. So I am going to drop hype on my Discords and Twitter and all those other things while I do my intro spiel, which goes like this. Hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them and then publish them online, and I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for the past 5 years. I publish on DMsGuild.com. There are a slew of links in the description down below of previous works that I've created. They all have extensive free previews. So if you go into them on a desktop, there'll be a link that says full preview underneath the cover illustration. Otherwise, on a mobile phone, there'll be an eye icon on the right-hand side of the screen that you can click on. Either one of them will pop open a PDF for you. And so there's about maybe like 150 different illustrations that I've done throughout those works. And if you're a D&D like 5e mechanic enthusiast, then there's stuff for both DMs and players. I run campaigns as a DM from level 1 to 20 in about 200 to 250 hours before looping into another campaign. I'm about to finish, I think it's my third one for 5th edition. I think it's my third one. Yeah. And we're at 20th level right now on this one. So, and then we'll start over a whole new thing in Spelljammer. But for now, when I build stuff, I build it for both sides. So if you find that stuff to be cool and you want to help support the growth of me doing more of this stuff, then you could certainly make a purchase. You also can follow me on Twitter at Phil Kearney. Here I illustrate, place illustrations, like look-sees at like different art that we've done, as well as just post whenever I'm live. So you can follow me there on Twitter if you're still active there. But best way to help: like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers. It's my first significant milestone, so that's what I'm trying to hit. So if you have a good time here, you think it's fun, or you got ideas that are getting sparked because of stuff that we're talking about, then stick around. Love to have you. So this is Crystals of Mabar. This is the cover that we created for it back around episode 40, and we're currently on episode 173. Welcome. 173. That's a prime number, I believe. Nice. So, Crystals of Mabar, it's an Eberron adventure. It's for around 8th level characters. It's in Karnath, and I wrote it with Andy, the Old Goat Heedley, who is the adventure writer that the book cover I create on Saturday mornings. He's that author, so we exchange resources. He helps me write stuff. I make book covers for him. It's cool. So we built this together, and Stuart Braz is our editor, and he is amazing. His depth of knowledge in Eberron is excellent, and the way that he pulls words together is amazing. So this is a really, really fun adventure. I'm really looking forward to it publishing for everyone to be able to play around with it if they think it's cool. So we've been working on the map here. So I'm going to blip that cover out of the way. And so this is the village map that we created, I think back around episode 130. I want to guess it was around episode 135 maybe. So you can check the Wayback Machine on the playlist to see us building this out, all the roofs and stuff like that. Like here's our roofs. Bam, there you go. So like the DM can, these are separate illustrations, these roofs. So the DM can lift these off. You know, as you go from one building to another, you can lift off the lid and drop it on the other. So if your character's like running around on the rooftop, you can just take the roof and put it over here to the side. It's like, go ahead, run around the rooftop, and because you know it's related to the building that you lifted it off of, because you could like put it on top of this tree, which is a perfect way of indicating elevation by putting it on a tree. So there's a bunch of trees laying around here that you can put a rooftop on to indicate that it is elevated. So if anyone has a logic issue in their brain about what's going on, there you go. So yeah, so we built the village map, and now we've come back to the village map. This is after the zombies attack, before your characters arrive, or if zombies attack the village while your characters just aren't there, whether they hadn't arrived yet or not. So, or if they're bumping around the woods or whatever it is that they got going on, you can introduce this as a motivator for them. It's like, hey, undead is a big threat in this area. You should go run off into the forest and fight them a lot, and that all the bloody footprints will help hopefully encourage the players to go do the right thing in later on in the first act of the adventure, the forest, which is basically just a bunch of random encounter vignettes, like little maps. So, hey, Nitro, how you doing? Yes, I know, right? Isn't it great? Ah, it's exquisite. So there's the bloody map, and then there's the not bloody map, right? So there you go. And when we do black and white, we'll polarize it so it gets rid of all color. It'll just it'll overexpose it, so anything darkish will drop the black, and anything grayish will pull the white, so I can take the blood effect and make it just flat black, so it works well. Anyway, you know how color works too. So we are going to get back to work here and we're going to bloody up and finish the commons room today, and then I think we're going to get into the back apartment. I'll have to rebuild the door so they're broken open by ye old zombies, and this door as well. They're all compromised, so I have to have a map. Currently they're just fused into the wall, but so I have to have them as separate objects so that they can be removed. So I can do that, or maybe I'll just erase it and redraw the door. I don't know. We need a solution to have those doors open, because those doors and this door are open. So I've got 5 doors I need to have opened, and let's see. Yeah, only 5 doors need to be opened right now, and I need to build that out. So that's on our list of things to do. So I want to have some fun. I've got my brush here. This guy, bloop, but I need to find the right color. So I'm going to venture over this way where I am sourcing the color of the crystals that we're using, which are essentially black, but they're just a tick of red. We can come back over to here and blip, blop. Well, I think we're almost done with the crystals in here. I just didn't want to I just want to make sure that I gave myself the opportunity to play around with it just a little bit more before I start dropping. I get to build a token for the Vulpina Lotharia. So the stinking cloud moss that when a character steps into space, it releases stinking cloud, make a Constitution saving throw DC 13, or spend your action throwing up. Just like stinking cloud spells, but it's just a naturally growing 5-foot area. So you litter them around a map while you're in the manifest zone, and now your characters get to interact with the environment more, because if you step on one of the 5-foot squares, you have to make a saving throw, and it could end your turn right there. And of course, the undead are immune to it. So this is a safe environment for the team to get used to those mechanics, literally in an enclosed environment that they can literally contain by just closing the door and running away until they figure out how they want to approach this shit. And that will give them a chance to step back and evaluate a little bit if it's necessary. So I'm particularly proud of that. And I know that good game design introduces characters to upcoming mechanics that they should anticipate in the game in a safe sort of experimental space where they can learn the rules of what happens. And this get attacked by zombies in the village is I think is an excellent execution of that game build philosophy. So I'm particularly proud of that one. This adventure was built as a proof of concept about the Consider Building Adventures This Way book I want to publish. So I got to the point, like when I was trying to make examples of how like threading things together and blah blah works, I kept making examples, and I'm like, shit, I should just make an adventure so I can prove a point here, and I can then self-reference myself. So hey, go check out page 15, and you'll see what I'm talking about with these plot lines. And so that gives you a chance to explore this adventure as like an example of how this design philosophy works, as just an experiment, or as something that if people get it and they think it's cool, they can pick up for themselves and consider building adventures in that style. That's like the big picture of what we're looking at here. I just don't know. I just don't know how it's all going to pan out, but that's the idea. So we have the adventure, so that's what we're doing. And I have another adventure I want to do the same way that I used as a playtest for the color mana system when it first published. I got invited on a live stream D&D or role-playing game channel that they would just interview game designers and then throw together a one-shot using whatever it is that they're building. And I got invited on board because they liked Magic the Gathering, and they didn't really like 5e. They didn't know Eberron at all. But I threw together a 5-color mana system game using the Magic the Gathering color system in the Eberron setting, the way that I think about Eberron. And so I built an adventure for them to have an experience of Eberron using the book that we're making examples for. So like there's already a living example of the concepts that are in this book I made. It's a 6-hour, it's 2 3-hour chunks, and we unfortunately lost an hour because of recording issues, and it was a damn shame because they were fucking around with flying mounts trying to sneak into a temple, a monk's temple that was under attack. It was super fucking cool. And so we lost the footage of the team figuring out how to use their mana pools to help support each character attempting to do this heist sort of invasion of this temple by flying off the side of this mountain in a hurricane for them to catch. Oh, it was a snowstorm at the top of this frozen volcano in the North Pole, and they're just like flying through this winter storm to jump along the side of the temple building to get to a position where they can sneak in through a window where no one would notice them. These are 6-level characters, like half a mile up above Oblivion. And it's just like, oh yeah, we can do this, right? It's like, yeah, you can. It's like, oh shit. They legitimately, I mean, from the wrap up that they said is that none of them had ever played in Eberron before, but they love the magic system and that Eberron seems like a really kick-ass world. And I know that no one plays Eberron the same way. For them just to have that as a cold opinion, I'm totally tooting my own horn here, forgive me, but I'm very proud of that I introduced strangers to my ideas in a bigger campaign world, and just by the merit of what I offered them as options for them to do stuff and how I interacted with them as a DM stranger, it was an amazing experience. I am loving how this texturing is coming along. This crystal stuff is badass. So I don't want to get lost in it because, God, I can get lost in this. I'm sure you guys have seen me do that before with the underground grotto. Jesus Christ, that thing's a monster of a map. That was like around episode 110, I think. The whole underground complex. That was a monster of a map to make. God. So there are some robust maps that we have built over the past year here, my friends. It is, I did not know I was capable of building things like that. So I'm pretty fucking happy with where we're at with that stuff right now. It's, I'm pretty proud of this thing already. So this is, there's good times ahead. I'm loving this. This thicker crystals around the bloody bits, and then it thins out as it strays, and then we can drop little squares of Vulpina Litharia in here to create tactical points, like drop one right here in this somewhat empty square, so that when they get through the door here, if they take the easy path of coming along here, then they're going to hit the patch, like one here, and then that's difficult terrain, and that's difficult terrain. And the undead are like here, anywhere, whatever. There's a lot of them, but regardless. And then you got some in here as well, and we're gonna bloody this place up from somewhere between here and here is gonna be well, the natural transition point plus a giant blood splotch. So that's got going on. So I want to make sure that I want to finish the commons area itself so I can understand the scope of what it is that we're doing. Unfortunately, this is the bulk of that work. So by the time we figure out how to do it in this larger space, anyway, I'm enjoying the journey. So we're going to stay on board here, yo. So that's the plan. So I'm going to shut up and actually do it. But yeah, man, I am stoked. This is a really fun adventure, and it's really cool just to be able to, because I like to talk about, I like to talk about DM stuff occasionally, like game philosophy or like building campaigns or like narratives and all that fireside chat that's so badass. It's I like doing that occasionally, and it's really cool to be able to actually like provide a physical specimen about like what you're actually talking about, like as a like it's I will say it like this, that it is a big swagger for me to say, if you're curious about like why, like the type of games I think about, or like when I'm talking about running games as a DM at different tiers of play, this is what I think about. And that's an opportunity for anyone to be able to just kick through the documents and be like, get a really good idea of what my perspective is when I'm talking about like how I think high level play plays out, or like table interactions and social dynamics that you have to deal with as the table manager de facto, stuff like that. Not that anyone asked in particular, but I do know that I will listen to that content myself forever, and it's just nice to have a good long history of being active in the field as a 30 some odd year forever DM. I have opinions, and since I run campaigns from level 1 to 20 in about 250 hours, I'm going to say my opinions actually make a difference in how something happens. Like I actually know what the fuck I'm talking about, right? Like that's all I'm trying to say. God damn, I really feel like I am banging the drum of Phil right now. So like and subscribe, buy my shampoo. But that's where I'm at right now. I'm legitimately excited. I'm loving everything that's going on right now. I'm super excited about where all these books are at. I don't really actually care about where the future is at right now. I have a stack of books that are already lined up for me to do, that I've made commitments to, that are going on the DMsGuild. I just get to now make sure that they're compliant with 6e instead of just being 5e, because that's how long ago I made the commitments to everybody. And that's awesome. That means that I don't have to make any kind of fast jumps or anything. I can just kind of ease into whatever the future is going to be. And there's some really, really cool stuff on the horizon. I'm excited about the next 5 years. It's going to be cool. Really, really looking forward to it. We'll do that, and up in here. I do go on sometimes, and I always feel the need to apologize. I think a lot of people turn off their listening when they hear other people talking about themselves, because we do it so much these days. And I think that's fair. Yeah, that shit looks pretty cool, man. Yeah, okay. I think that's pretty good. We can do that. All right. So then let's see. This was our blood layer number 2. No, that's the crystal layer. Another crystal. So we're gonna stack these together here as crystals. I love this stuff, man. It is so cool. And what is this? Oh yeah. Blood trail. Blood trail. And then bloody puddle. Nitro, how's your team? Bloody puddle. Ow! Walk it to me. Bloody puddle. Ow! Bloody puddle. A token! Anyway. Benches. So this should be under the benches. We'll go with, we'll call this Vulpina. Wow, 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 woo. We'll drop it here. We're going to go peel open our Flora of Mabar document. Flora and Fauna of Mabar, the document where I build creatures and plants for the adventure. Here's just the, you know, the monster illustration of the plants. So what we can do is we can jump in here and like steal a chunk of this. Like maybe a little smaller. Transform. Yes. Nope, wait. Beep, beep, burp. Click, clop, clip. Why can't I see you? What happened? There's something strange happened. Okay, we gotta do that again. This is there it is. Thank you. God, that was goofy as shit. Let's see. Let's go bump, 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 bump. Yep, yep. Bump. There we go. Get that out of there. And this is gonna be Vulpina token. We're making a Vulpina token. So let's see how well this one stacks and see if it's the right one for us. So we're going to duplicate it real quick. Duplicate the layer. I changed my the nib on my art pen this morning because it was riding rough. It chiseled down to a fine point, something I could jab someone's eye out with, to be honest. So it felt like it was time for that guy to get replaced. So I did so. Now I have a new smooth nub. Let's see. Wop, wop, wop. Boo-boo. This song's silly. I like it. Let's be here. And then duplicate this one as well. Mute that out. Let's grab a square to erase with. Oh yeah, we should probably grab another chunk while we're over here. Get some of this stuff. We're gonna need it eventually anyway. Wop, wop. I do not want any of the white. So let's get that out of the way. That was just me being overly zealous. There we go. For those that have been keeping track, I've been resolving the exploration chapter of the combat and exploration Spelljammer book that I've been building. Hold on. Something just went weird. Vulpina square. There you are. Thank you. Cool. And we'll go with you as Moss token. Leave that open. Go down here to the Volpina. And now we can close this one. Your purpose is done for now, sir. Thank you kindly for your service. Let's see. Yeah, I like that square off. So let's do that. So I've got my square eraser. Go around to here. Let's just hit that to 100. Yeah. So I've been digging through. There's like 8 pages of an exploration chapter in Spelljammer, talking about like time, distance, mapping systems with squares and like moons and planets orbiting stuff, and like how like right now we're resolving the artwork for how rings around planets work, and it's super fun. So we've resolved a lot of the language that we were dealing with for the diagrams that we build off screen. So we'll be able to kick through those here, probably be done with all of those by Monday, leaving like maybe the picture we're working on right now, like another one. I think there's another picture in the exploration chapter. And then we'll be done with that, and we'll move into the random system generator and start building stuff down in that chapter. And I'm still working on the diagrams in the combat section. As soon as those are all done, we'll loop back around to the combat chapter, and there's like maybe 5 illustrations for that. And while we're doing that, we'll be able to resolve all of the diagramming for the Laias-Araxes conversion, because there's no illustrations for the Laias-Araxes section, just tokens for which characters are present in scenes, as well as the maps and the ship tokens that are needed for the combat, and whatever all the other gobbledygook is that you need. Drop it into the book as kind of like an alpha testing of how we'll be building out this adventure. But it's like it's a 20 page how-to guide for how to convert Laias-Araxes into my Spelljammer mechanics. And when that's done, we'll then have the technology and the know-how for us to be able to take this 100-page book and convert it into a place set, basically. Building it basically like an adventure kit. Like with all the stuff that we're doing, if this was all printed out, it would be like a box set. It'd be like a Ravenloft box set. And it covers, like, if you do everything, you could justify 2, maybe 3 levels of stuff. You'd want to stop them shy of 9th level, so like 7th, 8th, like 6th, 7th, 8th level. You could start them off slow and just throw a shitload of stuff at them in the forest for them to chew through in 6th level, and then get into the manifest zone through 7th level. And then once they start interacting, like after they get through one of the locations, they start going down into the depths. They're at 8th level, and then fight it out at that point. And then when they finish that, you can give them 9th level, and that'll be you could justify that with like 60 hours of gameplay if you really just wanted to really slow down the pace of content, so like having more interaction with people, side plots going on, character interaction, stuff that eats up time at the table, but that your type of style, if that's your style of game, then you can drag out content like that between your Joss Whedon like character interaction stuff that you're doing, which is mad respect. I did that in play-by-posts all the time. When I was younger, I would moderate play-by-post forums. It's called RPG Crossroads now. I forget what it used to be called. But I was a moderator there, and I ran 3 Eberron play-by-posts in 3rd edition for character levels ranging from 3rd level to 22nd level, and I did that for about 2.5 years. And I also did some artwork for some of their fanzines, and I was one of their admin soldiers, man. And I left that and started doing Facebook social games, Mafia War and Farmville. At one point, I had a clan of 7,500 people that were under our flag, playing Mafia War together, and we only had about 5% of the people would show up to a scrim, but we'd pick a fight with another Mafia of hundreds of thousands of people. and people would show up and just burn stamina, just hit, basically bonking each other with hammers until someone would go down, and then you just laugh at them for going down, and then they'd pop back up and you'd start whack-a-moling each other, and it was just a game of how many people can you whack before they knock you down. And we were all free to play gamers. We didn't use any credit cards. It was just we had to figure out how to optimize the point gathering system on a Zynga game, and how to exploit its janky flash animations to be able to exploit it to get extra free stuff. So we had little clicking camps where people would be on cell phones jamming the purchase button, and like they would spend like 20 XP to get like 10 times the amount of the resources they should have gotten for the things that they like. If you spend like if you got XP by completing missions, you could always buy XP if you wanted to, and that's fine if that's how you play. But we played for free because we wanted to prove that you can play for free and that it's fun to do it. And honestly, I was the guy that orchestrated it, so it was pretty cool. I jumped into a clan and just kind of built. And eventually, kind of Cult of Personality took the place over, and we'd have weekly rallies, and I'd put out newsletters, and it was insane. It was a fucking Zynga game, but God, it was epic. So that really taught me a lot of ideas and approaches, and how to fail at being a leader of a large online clan movement that I think helped me get to a point where I'm pretty good at moderating like a Discord channel. I've had a lot of experience modding different environments with people. It's really given me an opportunity to explore psychology and how groups move, and like this guy's gonna be a hot one. Like, you know, you can see that he's gonna stir up trouble a lot, and like he likes to fight the system just to fight it. He doesn't care what the system is, just plug him into one so he can rage against it. You've probably met that kind of guy. They're loyal as hell until they aren't. You gotta look out for stuff like that, you know, whatever. Anyway, it's yeah, the Modo days of the mod. That was intense times. I don't know if this is gonna be any good. Maybe we do like faded edges. I'm going to I'm gonna leave that one there. I'm gonna grab this one. We're experimenting right now, so this is gonna be a little path of discovery for us right now. Duplicate your layer, bop, bop. So now we got 2 of them, and we're just gonna see if it's cool to rotate these things around. So do that, and like, is it okay for these things to not have a down or up, you know? And if it does, then we have to sculpt it so it is okay. So right now we're exploring. Thank you. We are exploring what can be, what isn't good. So that's the idea anyway. Bop, 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 bop. Burp, 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 burp. Bam, bam. Duplicate, free transform, equals flip, horizontal, think fast. You know what? I know I'm thinking this way because I know I have to gear up and start thinking about opening a Discord channel for playtesting, for the martial power system, and as a rallying point for anyone that has questions about the Spelljammer system that I'll be publishing, and then later on, obviously, also about color mana, and then this adventure in the book that goes, you know, that explains this process. Hey, Shiner, it's good to see you. How are you? So, plans within plans, Paul. Plans within plans. I know that's why I'm thinking about this stuff. I'm just calling it like I see it. So these are little lumps of Vulpina Lotharia. It's a poisonous moss that grows in crystalline environments and dark places. The manifest zone is caught in perpetual poison gas gloom that just corrodes everything around it over time. And this stuff thrives in it. So anytime you step into this 5-foot space, it releases spores that act as the stinking cloud spell. Constitution DC 13. Fail equals lose your action that turn. So, yeah. Cheers. So you have to, if you want to run through that stuff, you have to burn your action economy before you do it, because if you fail your save, you're going to be stuck in it, and undead don't mind it at all. They're fine with it. So, hey, bully. I don't like I want to play with this pattern a little bit. But that's a cool thing. Why was I talking about that? Don't remember why I was talking about that. But I'm excited. You can tell I'm excited, right? No, I don't want to transform it. I want to get your shit straight, son. Let's duplicate. I bet this one's going to be fun. Oh yeah, that smashes. That's, oh my god. That's almost like naturally perpetual. That's great. That's one of those French kisses of like when you nail that arc perfectly, or like when you type something and then you drop it into Photoshop and the text just lines up perfectly with the border on the artwork, and it's just sweet. So it looks like we've got a really good token. That's let's not get too far ahead of ourselves here, Kearney. We haven't done the vertical test. Horizontal is amazing, but oh no, that's badass. Yeah, fucking killed it, dudes. We killed it. Nice. That is just a natural 20 for you, sirs. Natural 20s. Just throwing them around like it's God's business. Drop one here, and we'll leave. Yeah, I don't know, man. Is that breaking? That is breaking disbelief by having such a block. I think I need to do. Yeah, I need to do a more organic. I can't have these edges like that. It can't be just square. I think I have to do like little blotches. So we got to go in and scrape these guys up a little bit. This is not okay. So I like this one. Should be pretty easy though, because we like how it patterns already. So it should be pretty easy for us to be able to hack at the ends of it a little bit, and we can use the same tool that we use for the moss to help reinforce the shape and images. I'm going to drop the opacity on the eraser down to 30% so I can hack at the edges and have it be like a fade from square to square, so you can kind of like just drop this thing anywhere you want, and hopefully it'll feed through and feel okay. Because again, the underlying colors, we already know the wave pattern, it all lines up already. Right now we're just trying to get rid of how unnatural it feels to have the stuff stacked up next to each other. So by doing a rough, dirty fade like this, we may be able to get a decent organic feel to that. So let's see how that feels. Duplicate. Yeah, like that, right? That feels a lot more natural. I think we're going to be okay with that. So we just want to do the same thing with the Vulpina. It's basically the same patterning. Whew. This is good stuff, guys. I'm happy. Yeah, that's good. We can. Oh yeah, we can make more of them. Scatter some around just to prove a point. But there'll be tokens like this. These are like, this is an example map. You can drop tokens anywhere you want on here. And again, you want to have a Vulpina token, because when one of the fresh dead dies or like takes 5 points of damage or more, I think it's anytime you hit them, like the first hit that a fresh dead takes, they explode and basically puke up Vulpina all around them. And so anyone that's within 5 feet of them is going to make a saving throw to lose action economy. Meanwhile, it's still attacking. So anyway, that's how that stuff's supposed to work. That's what it's supposed to do. So we'll be providing some suggestions as to where, so like, yeah, I can just drop this on top of that blood splotch. I'm perfectly cool with that. I feel happy with that. This is cool. And since the furniture is actually a separate asset that you can cut out with paper if you want, or we can have as separate assets in Roll20, so you can have the tables on the interaction layer, so characters can pick them up and throw them around and hit undead with them, or build forts and Legos and stuff if they want. But the Volpina and stuff will be separate tokens on the map layer, so that only the DM can interact with them, and only if the DM is on the map layer. So you can click on like if they make this Volpina burst, or if they burn off this Volpina. Sorry, that's the way I should express it. But if then the DM can pull it, and it's gone until a new undead comes along and throws up more Volpina, and now you have to deal with that. So cheers, boss. But yeah, so that's the idea. That's what we're trying to create here. These are the assets that we're providing with the book. And I never considered how much time it takes to build all this stuff out. But it's a joy to do it. It's legitimately a lot of fun. I have maybe every month or two I have a bout of guilt on how long projects take for me, and that's a form of imposter syndrome. Me berating myself for not respecting the amount of time it takes to produce the work that I have, but that the work I build is pretty fucking cool. So it's worth the time to do it. And that's not me bragging. You guys have watched it. Like, I discover shit happening at the same time as you guys are, most of us. Like, when I'm live here, I have no idea what's going to happen with this stuff. I have no idea what solutions we're going to create. I don't know how to do it when we walk into this stuff. I just switched out 3 pages in Spelljammer because I'm like, oh wait, this is, hold my beer. And then I swapped out all the text. You guys should be able to see that tomorrow. So swing by. But this is that creative process. And honestly, if I cracked out content really fast, I wouldn't have this opportunity for these things to breathe and like to be more, solid, like be solid content. Is what I really want to achieve with this. So, man, I am pontificating about myself today, ain't I? If I am ever like out of pocket on this shit, somebody check my privilege, please. I really I am like off the cuff and a lot. Like completely just gotta own and eat whatever it is I end up saying on here, and that's I don't know. I guess I'm just reassessing myself. That looks cool. Let's take that and go over here and blip to that blob and duplicate here, and then we trim, and then we very good here to here to here, merge down, and then from here we'll do the same thing we did over here, around 30% good. We'll drop it down to 20. When I was running Mafia War Clans, I was very hypersensitive about humility and being aware of driving messages down people's throats and trying to try to put yourself in the shoes of the people that you're engaging with. So it makes me a little hyperfixated on that. Oh my god, I love that. Holy shit. That looks freaking awesome. Let's see if this plays out as well as I hope it does. Duplicate the layer. Let's see how that lines up. Is that good? No, wait. Nah, could be better. All right, keep at it. Let's be like this. No, let's be like this. We'll do it like that. All right, second verse, same as the first. Whoa, did I do that? Oops, hard set. How are we looking in here? Like that. Thank you. Fleet, bop, blorp, duplicate, drop, erase, 20%. There, like that. This should nice. It was overkill too much one way, so I have to thin out all of it a bit. Oh, text. Hey, Cat Up, how you doing, man? Oops, man, those honey bears, they really just got after this place. It looks like they found the October Jamboree. I think okay, so let's test this one out here real quick, see if that's a replicatable pattern or not. That doesn't feel bad. I dig that. Yingy yangy. I don't think I'd want to replicate it perpetually, so let's not. Free transform. Yeah, what's a spin sugar? Nah, let's lay down a bunch of them. Duplicate. There we go. Now we'll spin sugar. Free transform. Boom, 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 boom. Snap, bastard. There we go. I've got my lean on, which tells me that I need to zoom in a bit more, yo. I wanted to get a really good bird's eye view of it, though. So far, so good. Again, it is the prophecy. Let's give it another turn and see if we're still doing okay over here. Snap back at it, son. Here, and we'll... That's not horrible if you're lazy about your patterning and just go left to right, you know, up and down, laterally, strafing, as it were. I saw a commercial on you. God damn it, YouTube. I saw a commercial, and oh, that's nice. Isn't that just a blossom of pain? Yeah, I'm down with that. You can't call this broke. Let's duplicate that layer, and then we can free transform, and then we flip horizontal, and let's scooch it over. Take a look at where we're at. Yo, what? How did that all happen like that? There. Mine's gonna start looking silly if you like tile the entire floor, but if that's how your team attacks them, I guess that's what's going to happen. Fun zone. I think I'm pretty happy with that. No, I'm not. I know it can be better. So, hold my beer. Take two. Ked, my dude, I am excited about that Ring World illustration for the Spelljammer. It's coming together. That's gonna be a badass picture. I'm really I hope I'm not overselling it to myself because I'm so excited. I love doing landscape. I love the opportunity to up my game on rural structure illustration, and this is like a really cool, like. Did you ever see that You ever see that Jim Henson holiday special? It's going to be coming up here next month. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. It is, God, what a gorgeous Muppet movie that is. It's just a little vignette piece about a little poor kid trying to throw together a band for a battle of the band to buy his mom something nice if he can win somehow. And he has to go up against death metal performers. And it's just fucking legendary. And it's, oh my God, that movie. I fucking love that movie. I was 5. We had HBO. And my sister and I would watch it just religiously every time it came on. And I love my sister. She is fucking hardcore. So it's a very fond memory for me, and so this map, this Spelljammer illustration that I'm working on very much reminds me of what just happened. Yeah, don't do that. I accidentally hit flatten at some point, somehow. And luckily, I wasn't so far prattling along in my head that I screwed myself. So I'm just going to delicately press save here real quick and take a sip of water. But that rustic feel, I want that for the painting that we're working on in the morning right now. I like to have that kind of a village vibe on the ring world going around the planet. God, that's so fucking cool. To do the world. Oh, hey, let it cook, man. It's not like I'm speeding through this and it percolates, man. It gets badasser. Let them cook. My muse knows what she's doing, and the less I think, the more she cooks. So, in muse, I trust. Merge down. Duplicate my layer. Think fast. Don't dump it down. Switch back to our. It's the crystals of my bar. Crystals of my bar. Boo boo. Crystals of my bar. Boo 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 boo. That's badass. Thanks for backing me up there, time and space. It's nice to know I'm on the curve. Tool concert was badass. Never seen Tool live before. Loved it. Good times, good visuals, good music. Nice to shout at the moon with it. It was at the Tacoma Dome, which is a closed environment venue, but it was wonderful. We shelled out some severe cash to get nice floor seats close enough for a blind guy like me to see Danny actually playing drums. So that was hardcore. I hit delete. I see with my eye text. I'm going to use this new technology called a pivot and tilt to get a little lean on here so that the text is easier for me to see. College high is all hell and heard lateral. Oh yes, man! Tool is so badass. They're really good to think about things with. And that guy, he sure could yell. All right, let's see if we can replicate this guy and make it feel good. I'm starting to feel bad about myself. I don't hate that. It's a distinct pattern, that's for sure. That's good, and when you get in closer with it, it's interesting, and I think distinctive enough. So that should be able to jive. I'm selling myself on this. Let's get our pitch on. Still good with it. Oh yeah, right on. Nice. Very nice. I've grown to appreciate country music. I was a staunch metal, classic rock enthusiast, and I started branching out in classical, and then learned to appreciate bubblegum because of the shift in difference I could see from like 80s pop into current pop over the past 40 years. Like you can see the shift, and they're very different. Very, very different vibe what pop is now. So they're very... Pop isn't eternal. Pop is its own instance in time. Very much so. Very trend. And it's cool to catch little snippets of different stuff from different decades. That's like legit, good music. Don't call me on the spot of what I'm talking about. I'm talking out of pocket at the moment, but I believe in it, and I would be happy to listen to this later and own the comments. I think I did that one already. Let's do this one. Yeah, this is all good to me. It's got this weird dial look to it, which is only emphasized by the fact that I'm sitting here spinning it. But I'm content with that. So I'll let that just lock in like that. Well, we want to sprinkle a couple around here to make a point, I guess. Sure. Blues. Oh, right on. You know, I've really started to get into jazz. I can appreciate jazz. Jazz is like the 70s answer to trance music. You know, like EDM trance, lo-fi even, like that heavy, dank cigar. I really just want to sit back and let a song just kind of carry me through this moment. Yeah, jazz does that because it's the beats, you know. It's a different instrument. They're using instruments from their decade, but it's that beat and that construction. It's cool if you can get into stuff that you like the sound of course. So like I can appreciate country now because I've learned to appreciate different eras of pop, and I can see like deep folk versus modern country has a very different feel. Obviously, this is a Terran conversation because talking to him about music or listening to him, not even talking to him, listening to him give a dissertation on the theories of music and what excites him about it is worth a price of admission because it is a good time. And anyone that doesn't know Indestructiboy, Terran Pounds, he's a music teacher by trade. He just happens to be really, really fucking based when it comes to game design as well because it's his hobby. But he is a professional with his trade. And you know, music teacher, teaching how music works, structure of it, all that stuff. It's just, it's like the final scene in Serenity when River is curled up in the pilot's chair listening to Malcolm talk about stuff. And he's like, you know all this. It's like, yeah, but I like to hear you say it. It's like, that's a good stream. That's a good stream. Love that shit, man. Live for people just being able to speak about something they're passionate about and actually have like some expertise in the subject so that they can have based opinions, or at least something that can have a debatable argument about. So they don't always have to be right, but as long as the perspective they're coming from is, well, this is what I know or observed, that's a legit debate that we can have as friends, and I love that. Like, I'm a huge, mana enthusiast. I know there's a lot of people that absolutely just no. do not bring your mana pool towards me, sir. And that's totally cool. But we both understand how these mechanics work, so it's like an informed taste, It's very worthy of respect. He has that with music, 100%. Also with game design. I am not slighting him. Anyway, hey, that stuff looks pretty cool. I like it. I don't know if I like it in a grid quite like that, but it can be done. This is what's going to end up happening if you keep bursting freshly killed undead villagers in this barn. You're going to dump a bunch of this crap all over the place, and so the DM needs to have tokens and drop down on the page like, here's your puke. Here's your puke. The more I look at it, the more I feel like I should probably just finish off that curve so it's just a circle. I'm pretty sure that's what I did over here. Yeah, and I'm really happy with those. So that's what I need to do. I need to just curve that stuff out. Beep, 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 burp, bop. If I ain't busy living, I'm busy dying. Would be 3 charts. Totes. As the totes. Love the guy. Good stuff. Sincere. Oh, I think I'm finally satisfied with that little clump there. Enjoy your assets, sir. Dopplicado. Whoa, 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 whoa. That feels better. Legit feels better. I'm cool. It's eggish. Ew. Stinky eggage. Let's see. Does it spin? Let's find out. How we doing over here, buddy? Keeping your square, son. I'm gonna have to clip this guy. I'm gonna have to clean it up later when I actually build the asset packets. But hey, that looks cool, man. I'm hip with that. It's tiley, right? But hey, so is Fire Emblem. So shut up. But I'm gonna pull this guy over to here. Take this one and drop it here. And again, this furniture is a separate layer that the characters can interact with in the virtual tabletop, and the moss is on the map layer, so they can trot around on it. And if they burn it, like you can throw a torch on it, and it'll burn it out. It's just you just burned your torch out in this stuff, so you don't have a torch anymore if you play that way. But any fire damage that you deal to the square will remove it. So like if your wizard doesn't have anything better to do, he can just pop a firebrand or something at a patch of Volpina to burn it away. You're at least using your action economy. So it's a fun little interactive space. And of course, whenever you kill a fresh dead zombie, it bursts and dumps D4 patches of Volpina around it. So like if it dies here, it could fill up all 4 squares or just one of them. Whatever the DM wants to do, a D4 is fine, or you pick it. Whatever you think is mean. But again, when you hit it, you have to make your Constitution saving throw DC 13, and if you fail, you retch instead of taking an action that turn. So all you can do is move and no reactions. So undead can engage you in close space with you and shuffle steps around while people are throwing up from killing the guy next to another zombie. It's actually, it can get really tactical, intense if you want it to. Or you can just cheese it, like whatever. So it's just depending on the level of depth that your table enjoys when engaging with content. I'm going to put one more patch down here. Yeah. That feels pretty good. Cool. We'll do that. Now let's jump over here and see what we got going on. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. I could move it. I don't know. What do we think? Do we like it there? Do we want it here instead? Yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah, I like that. I want to grab one more patch and dump it off over to the right-hand side. So, no, Phil, you can't use your own tokens. I've been using Roll20 for a decade, apparently. I've got like 7,500 hours logged in on it so far. I'll go to D&D Beyond when they just completely shut Roll20 down forever. Thank you. That's what it would take. Like I have so much accumulated time on that VTT. I have that. What do they call that in video games? Loss of investment, I think is what it's called. Been paying that company for a decade to have virtually unlimited storage space for tokens, maps, and bullshit. And it's great. It's freaking great. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that. And you can just litter in some undead. get into that shit. So okay, great. So very, very happy. I gotta move my monitor screen around here. You can't see it. I have this 32-inch monitor here that runs this is my camera is here high, and then the span of my hand is currently the edge of my monitor, and so when I'm this far away from the camera, I am literally a straight arm fist away from your text, and my retina's built wrong, so I can't read that text, even though you can clearly see how much space that would take on a 32-inch monitor. It is like the text window is literally as big as my head, and I can't read that text because I have 2200 vision. Because when you don't have cones, not only do you not have color vision, but you don't have any resolution. So I can't look at that. I can't look at that text and make it snap into focus for me to read what you're saying to me. I have to literally drag the monitor to me. Here's the edge of it. You can't see it properly, but there it is. See? And so now it's about this far away from my face now. And if I lean in a little bit, I can get a Guru live action role playing bombs distance away from the text and be able to read what it says. Time for new eyes. No kidding. Actually, Washington University has genetic repair experiments on humans right now to give people that are red-green blind the ability to put in stem cells that replicate the other cones in their eye and come out as red-green, so they can restore partially limited colorblind people. It's in human testing right now. It's been that way for 3 years now. Once they perfect that technology, they would be able to potentially, they'd have to pick up something foreign for me, so I'd have to probably find some sort of like blood match to a living relative that I'd be able to sync up with to be able to make the cells accepted, but they'd be able to potentially import genetically similar DNA into my eye and have those stem cells, using the same technique, convert themselves into my relative's eye, and I'd be able to pick up color. So if that happened, I'd want to leave one eye black and one eye color, so I don't lose this ability to perceive contrast. Like I'm always on night vision, which is all movement and contrast based, and since all I have is it's all gray. It's just a grayscale, like watch a grayscale movie, and a black and white, like a modern black and white movie, and that's exactly what I can't tell. Like sometimes I get fooled. Like I feel like, is this black and white? And it's like, yeah, this is black and white, but it like takes me like 30 minutes to figure it out, and so that'll give you a really good idea of what it is I look at. So like when I'm building things, I talk a lot about like striations of black and like light dark content, like a tiramisu cake, right? All these layers of dichotomy, because that's how my eye picks up on stuff, is by building that contrast. And once I have the contrast that I want, I can just grab any color off of a photo reference and drop it in. It's like I need this mid-tone, like a 7 out of 10 towards white, a value of 7. I need to grab like a mid-green, like some fresh grass. Maybe I'm doing a swamp scene or something like that. So like that's how that works. So I can fake color with the RGB scale I have over here on the right hand side. And then when I go diving for color references on Google Images, I can just grab stuff that lines up with like while I'm looking at it. I'm like pattern picking, like a what do they call them? Costume designers would. They pick out fabrics and stuff that they think is going to reflect the topic that I'm depicting here. And so I use that idea of contrast primarily first, and then texture. And that's not true. It's contrast, and then find a color that falls inside of that contrast, and then find an appropriate texture to choose what kind of brush I'm going to use to duplicate the effect I'm attempting to achieve. So that's the art process flow that I go through as I like deconstruct and then rebuild this version of reality. So there you go. Bob's your uncle. So we're going to close that up there. I believe I need to go look at the content here, because I'm not sure if the mayor is killed in his apartment or if he's killed in the office. But there is a journal here. It's actually on the desk. There's a journal in this room that will have a player handout of basically just documentation of different events happening over the past 2 some odd months. Like, here's a timeline you can provide if your team needs one. Here you go. If everyone's still alive, they can just tell you that timeline. This is the kind of stuff we've been running into, and the DM can embellish as they please. The DM can keep this handout to themselves if they want to embellish it, if the team finds it and can type it out later. Or if you just want to go by the book, we'll provide you with what the text is for you to be able to use. Again, it's just a player's handout, but it's a quality of life thing. Like if this was a TSR box set, it would be on like its own laminated page. It would look like vellum, like aged vellum with like scrawly ink. And anyway, like that's TSR. That's why they went bankrupt. That and buying way too many orders of books for people that didn't give a crap about it. Like 200,000 copies of some like random birthright box set because they accidentally added a 0 and no one double checked the work order before completing purchase. Apparently, that was one of the blunder steps that TSR had made back in the day that caused them to get sunk. So no hate, but all titans fall somehow. And it's just interesting. You know, you always want to keep in mind, how did they fall? Like, what follies have better than me people done? How have my betters fucked up so that I can learn from their tragic mistake and recognize that they were able to bounce back to it. So I can be that great too if I'm smart about what's going on around me and have some legitimate heart about it. So community, the community well. God bless you, community well. The commons, hold on. Am I caught up? Yeah, no kidding, right? I'll tell you about my spine later if you want to hear about it. Ooh, boy, I have adventures for you, my friend. Thorpe area commons, wooden before the attack, after the attack. I am past this room. Wait. After the villagers were attacked, the initial survivors of the commons building to gain protection, they got in through the back office, and no one survived. The undead remain inside with a growing colony of Vulpina Lotharia. Commons map for use after the attack. The large bay doors at the front of the barn-shaped structure are shut and locked from the inside. Pulling the doors open takes testing. You can eventually break it open with grit or boredom. Common interior. The commons interior is dark. Thank you. Encounter. Let's see. Commons interior environment encounters fallen allies. And then we move on into the inner office. Inner office, where is fallen bodies is what, B? 10B, commons interior. Right, okay, so front door is A. So here is A, the doors with all the junk in the way. So when they pull the door, you pull open. So you'll pull the door open, there's stuff stacked up. That keeps undead from mobbing you immediately, right? You can open the door and realize there's trouble. Maybe one or two are able to crawl over the top, but they're going to be slowed on slow feet already anyway. They're bottlenecked. If you've got AoE, this is a good time to drop it. You can always take a long rest if your wizard is tired. Before venturing into the wood, this will take care of that wave, but then immediately put pressure on the environment that there could be more undead heading this way. And a side quest could become chasing down the undead that have dispersed across the countryside, potentially killing other farming homesteads along the woodside. So as an expansion of this adventure, if your teams want to take responsible of actually being the constable in this region underneath the sheriff as deputies, you can start laying down claim. We got to hunt those undead down. So now we need a tracker, some overland stuff, and to make sure that people are keeping an eye on this place. We need some hirelings. Anyway, but that's how I run games. Those are my kind of games. So I think that shit's super fun. But you can see like cascading issues like that can build out to a 20th level campaign from first pretty easily. Like it starts, it's just like in Big Trouble Little China, man. It always starts off, that's nothing. It's always small in the beginning, and it just grows into green flames. It's great. So let's see, where are we at? I'm having a fun time ranting, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm getting any goddamn things done. So let's be back on point here. This is going to be benches. I understand. Okay, cool. So that's good. That's good. Commons. We can stitch that shut. Dabnagget. Unzu. We can group, and let's create office. And that'll be the next area that we'll work on. So let's catch up on our text to find out where we're at. Once the heroes have absorbed the information. Crushed berries mixed. Before the attack, Thorpe area 10, the commons. Huh? Need to start. All right, my guy. Thanks for hanging out, dude. It's great having you around. See you on the other side, my friend. Main entrance, commons interior. Kill the undead. Check out some fallen allies. If your family is one of the hooks, then some of your family are among these dead. Plague mass and black threads gather on the wet surfaces, such as pools of water or blood. Latharia vulpina sheds viridescent light, creating a low gloom while slowly releasing plague mist into the environment. Crystals clutter the area in between the patches of strange fungus. The plants are detailed further in Appendix 2. If the windows or bay doors are opened, light will cause the plants to wilt and the plague moss will dissipate. There you go, inner office. Encounter. This small room is in disarray and covered in blood from a close quarter battle between two villagers now laying dead in the room and three black encrusted undead now standing in front of a closed door leading into the commons interior. A now closed door. Oh wow. Okay, as it approach. Oh, that makes sense, because the door swings inward. Yep, so undead would be here and here and here. So when you open the door, this is assuming you're apparently coming in through this way. But if you're coming in through the door this way, you're going to hit those undead. I can just have them line up here, 1, 2, 3, like that. So when you open the door, they're there. That's fun. I like that the door opens to the interior, but they have like this giant blockade thing here. Like the undead just like bumbled into the door and it's shut, and they're like, They weren't able to batter down the door. This door gets battered down. This is the door that the undead got into in the first place, and why they're stuck in here, more or less. I mean, they could potentially get their way out through here, I suppose. But they're just in here when they hear you at the front door. That's where they start to go. But here at the back door, it's open. Here they come. Here, yeah, so you get through that, you get to the door, you check the stuff out, you get into here, there's lots of blood. Let's double check ourselves for the mayor's living area. What else we got going on here? The 3 lawn dead found their way into the... Oh, these are lawn dead, so these are just skeletons that are covered in black crystals. So they're like they're like heavy metal skeletons bristling with black crystals that are scrapey and get in your eye. It's gross. The 3 lawn dead found their way into the office area from Area 10D and killed the mayor and another villager in the room. The closed door to the north is heavy enough to resist the bludgeoning fists of the undead while being too complicated to accidentally open inward. So these undead have been trapped here since the attack. Anyone that enters the room will be attacked the next round. If the characters force their way into location 10D below, these undead will stumble their way westward to attack anyone they can see. The pools of blood under the fallen humans are encrusted with moss, and small black florets sprout from the wounds of the dead. The mayor has a journal tucked into the folds of his shirt, which provides some insight about what has happened here. See the mayor's journal description down below. The top of the journal is soaked with blood, so you can't read any of the dates. So I just realized that we don't have to provide you with the specific dates that this happened, because it got soaked up in blood. So fuck you. I don't have to hold myself accountable at all on the timeline about how long this has been going on. So the DM can make this like 3 days and wow, great timing. Or it could be like, no, they've been fucking around with this for months and they finally got it going. But it's been a weird season and we're scared. And now they have good reasons to be scared because here come the undead, regardless of how long it's been happening. But you don't know because the blood is soaked through. And so all you can do is reference them in real time if they're still alive, if you get the chance to investigate them before they're killed, or if your plot and if the DM wants to push you forward faster into the forest towards the dungeons to help collapse time frames, they're all dead, and the only lead that you have is the undead came from the forest. There you go. So, yeah, so let's see. I need to... 3 Long Dead. Oh, God, I fucking love this stuff. It's so fun. It's so fun. And once I get this thing built out next year, I can do little tear-outs. And we can have a community commons version of this that doesn't reference Eberron at all and restructures what the scenario is. So it can be like a zombie attack village scenario, like a one-shot where you're defending this village Romero style from a horde of undead, and like make that like a one-shot excursion thing, or even like drop it into Curse of Strahd as an undead overridden town that you have to help the team. God damn it. Okay, so I could absolutely build a mass combat system around a Romero style horde of undead in Curse of Strahd, and in fact, I would probably be able to create an undead horde menace campaign out of Curse of Strahd, where during the hex crawl portion of the game, there are roaming mobs of ever-growing undead zombies that are eating up more areas of your map that you have to go conscript people around to be able to fight against the horde while you're doing your micro missions in different locations, while you're policing the area from undead. So you become this like Van Helsing police officer or like local sheriff that has to go from location to location and make sure that zombie uprisings aren't destroying everyone. Fuck, man, like I could build that and people would buy that for $20, no problem. Like no problem. Give them the kit on the in-command system for mass combat in the Kickstarter campaign that I'll do, and then I can do like a Van Helsing protect campaign and just maybe make it look strikingly like Curse of Strahd in format. Who knows? It'll be my own map. I can sub it in on DMsGuild and they can't really bitch about it if I decide to change all the labels because they can't copyright artwork. So maybe I'll do something like that. Change the labels to keep the innocent safe. And then I can make another version that's street legal for Roll20 using whatever 5.238 is, or, pi, 5 pi. Can we call it 5 pi? I want to call the new version 5 pi or 5 pi. It'll never fetch. Stop trying to make fetch a thing. It's not gonna happen. 5 pi, man. I am like 100% on team 5 pi. I don't know if that... I can't be the first one to think about that, but as far as I know, I'm the first person in my own space that's at least been willing to say it out loud. Maybe that's the difference. But yeah, man, Geronimo. Let's see. So, community. Well, sorry, I scrolled up accidentally. I gotta get down to 10D. Come on, Doc. The porch door leading into the back apartment isn't locked, but it is obstructed by something on the inside. The door into the abode is blocked by the body of a heavy dwarf. Pushing it aside is easy enough, but doing so quietly requires a successful DC 17 intelligence stealth check. I love breaking up ability checks with different types of skills inside of 5e. It is my absolute fucking favorite thing to do. I'll make sure I invest some time soon looking at the group skill challenges that I have in Spelljammer for you guys to get a kind of a vibe on how I throw ability checks together for some fun ideas, like just to riff off of if you want to yourself. But I love mix and matching, like intelligence stealth, like knowing that this dwarf is going to be noisy, dragging a claws. It's not a matter of you being quiet about it. It's a matter of you being smart enough to think I shouldn't just push the door open. That kind of stuff. That could almost be a Constitution saving throw or a Constitution check to have the mental fortitude to be that aware of your environment around you. Or I guess it could be wisdom. Wisdom stealth would work too. A lot of different ways you could take it. But that's what I love thinking about with skill checks. I love that stuff. If you're going to like deep dive into like making shitloads of rolls. Because some people like to do that. They like just to throwing dice like, here's what I got. Because honestly, if your team is into die rolling for narrative, it's great time spent rolling out your dice. Just be efficient with how you roll and know how to math good. So you're not wasting people's time, but you can add that die rolling into your narrative about what you got going on in your game. It's cool. The door to the abode is blocked. A dead body you hear stumbling around in the next room and the curtain separating this room from the next parts as blackened corpses stumble awkwardly towards you, lunging to attack. Well, hey friends, the undead, that's my sister. The undead won't be able to figure out how to open the door inward if the characters leave and close the door behind them. They have a 50% chance of breaking down the thin door, but if they fail, they will spend 10 minutes trying in vain and then stand behind the door waiting for circumstances to change. If they hear a loud noise outside beyond the door, they will continue battering the door for 10 minutes for each disturbance with a 50% chance of breaking the door each time. I don't know if anyone else geeks out on little micro mechanics like that, but I fucking love that kind of stuff. Like just throwing in ideas, like if you can't figure out if this door should be open or closed or not, by adding in die narratives like that, it's like a Ludo. You hear the term, especially on Cleric's Corner, Riker talking about the Ludo narrative of character construction. Like your Echo Knight can be somebody from the future, or it could be like a trans-dimensional duplicate of you, or it could be your past lives catching up with you literally. So there's different ways you could play it, but how you skin the mechanics of what you're doing is called Ludo narrative for whatever reason. Ludo, rocks are friends. So they have the ability to sculpt the conversation of how you're expressing things. If you add in percentiles, it kind of feeds this like mathematically mechanical intuition about how likely is it for this thing to happen. Like that's why you have percentiles on stuff, to give you an idea of like, is like if it's a percentile, it's really telling you as the DM that I don't really care if this happens or not. If you want it to go right ahead, that's like what a percentile thing means, as opposed to like a DC or sometimes you'll see it translated as a die roll, like a 3 in 6 chance. You know, it's a half dozen or 6. Take your pick. I guess that'd be a 6 on a D12. But that's the point, you know? It's the mechanics sculpt the narrative of how the game is played, and I love the narrative mechanics of what 5e is, even if it can be ponderous to go through the analog calculating that a button can do for you, which is what's so nice about virtual tabletop. The dwarf is dead on the floor, is in a pool of blood with moss and florets sprouting from the wounds. The dwarf wears brigandine armor and a hand axe +1 is on the floor near the body. If the thorp is vacant, this journal lists important events the DM can provide as a handout. See Thorpe Journal right here. If the mayor remains in the thorp when the heroes arrive, the journal's bullet points provide an easy reference of events the DM has on hand when the players interview her for the context of the adventure and clues as to what they might confront. And then the rest of that journal is not relevant right now, so I'm not going to let you spoil into that right now. We'll catch that later. But we have a few blood piles we need to make. We need to do a corpse puddle here, a corpse puddle here, a corpse puddle here. We need to have splash footprints from one location to another. We have to dump in some Vulpina, probably here, here, and here. Here. And then we'll have some plague moss. Probably here. Makes sense. And then in front of the door. And then, yeah, that'll do. So that's... And now that we have tokens, we can do that efficiently. So but first thing we want to do is let the bodies hit the floor. I love this stuff. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm so happy that this is a hobby that captivated me for decades. Men don't really have the opportunity to create anything unless they get good with crafting, you know? So this is a very soul-soothing thing to do if you're compelled by crafts or arts or performance in any manner, even if it's just playing D&D each week and being and just, you know, engaging in camaraderie. Even that is a nourishing thing to do. But I think it opens up people's hearts to be thankful for things that they experience around them. That's the take that I've always gotten from artwork anyway. I could put blood underneath that chair if I really wanted to go F-tard crazy. I like the word F-tard. That's awesome. I haven't used... I haven't said fucktard in a while. I think that's great. This is so fun. I'm really, really looking forward to doing this in the mornings. This is going to be so much fun to be doing tokens and page art and breaking the map down to fit different spaces and just walking through that process with you guys. It's going to be so fucking fun. Just ridiculous. All right, hey, those are good splotches. I am into that. Let's put another blood splotch over here. Blood splotchy. Dwarf. Dead dwarf. No blood in a dwarf. Hey, how about you, Timely Timer? You're singing along. Bloody dwarf. It's a bloody dwarf. It's a bloody dwarf. All right, we get it. Son. Being a goofball tonight. I hope you are enjoying it too. It's fun. I love doing this stuff. It's so much fun. Bloody bop blop. Okay, let's kick some footprints around in here. There you go. Break those down a bit. Bad times for the dwarf. Constable Dead Duck. Here's your sign. You know you're a redneck when you try to fight the undead horde with a billy club. I'm realizing there's a mechanical flaw with the language I introduced about extra crit damage for barbarians that I need to learn how to I need to resolve. So I'm burning some brain cycles on that, and I think I'll be ready to readdress that on Tuesday next week when I normally run the Martial Powers developed stream. But we're getting really close. I think we'll be playtesting that probably in like January, February. Once the commission that I'm painting on Saturday, once that's completed, I'll be using that Saturday morning space as a personal design workbench for me to build the hex crawl campaign that I plan for that playtest content, and start looking at how reasonable it'll be for me to have a Westmarch style open call game space on like either Monday, Thursday, or Saturday is what I'm looking at. And I haven't mentioned it this episode, so I'll bring it up again because repetition is God. We want to, anyone that's interested in this stuff, I don't know how many people are going to be interested overall, but if there's more than 4 people that end up wanting to be at the table, if you are a $1 or more subscriber on my Patreon, you will have first rights to chairs, and you'll be able to have a vote on which day of the week I'm going to do it. So if that's something that you're interested in, if you want me to DM a throwaway one-shot hex crawl campaign where you're literally just going through ruins and wreckage environments and wilderness to find your way out, or to find treasure while you're stuck in there, delving into dungeons looking for teleportation circles that can lead you back home, or a communications tower that you can send off a sending to for you to get access to, like to get somebody to come out and pick you up because you're stranded out in the nowhere, in the rubble. That's the kind of thing we're trying to build. Whenever whoever shows up that session with whatever character they have, we'll all just decide what kind of what do we want to go explore and what objective. If we find solutions, how do we want to execute them? Because we're the ones that found it. It's our job. But meanwhile, the narrative is that there's a whole convoy of like 30 refugees that you're leading from this crash site. Like your Spelljammer ship crashes in the rubble belt between the civilized regions in the Ravnica setting, and for a city that literally coats the earth 3 miles deep, there are wastelands thousands of miles in scale that are just completely abandoned and uncivilized, where like Mongolian horde-sized clans of Gruul savages are fighting amongst each other in these vast, no man, like almost like Dark Sun, Thundar the Barbarian sort of environment. And your ship crashes in that space, and you got to find some sort of a way out or the tech to be able to fire up ascending to have somebody come and find you. And so that's the theme of the playtest, which means it's episodic. Whatever you guys can find in this hex for however long we play today, just keep throwing mana at problems and see how you can create solutions out of it, and we'll see if it's fun. And if the answer is yeah, this is actually pretty fun, then we know we've got something that we should be going to market with. If it's like, no, this is missing the bite, it's probably because it's going to be too open, which means we might need to build restrictions on what we have access to and start funneling things down to like maybe specific themes. So it's either going to be like loosey-goosey, or we could play it tight where there's restrictions on what classes can do. We don't know how we're going to play it out yet. But that's part of the play testing. The one that I have, it's I give them the abilities that I want to test them out mechanically, but I haven't allowed them to pick and choose their own kits and build their own action economy. I've been selecting which action economy they get for me to be able to see how it plays. And I'm thrilled, but that's a very contained narrative. I want it to be open-ended and something that people can just rough up with, and have it at lower levels initially, so I can see how it plays. Make sure it's fun. So anyway, that's what's going on. That will become my Saturday when the Enraven, the Shatterer adventure for the Underdark is like 12th level characters. It's an expansion off of, I believe, Into the Abyss and Out of the Abyss. Sorry, and so that's Andy, my co-writer for this adventure. He built that one, so I'm building the book cover for him. That's what's happening on Saturdays, and so when that's done, we'll start building the hex crawl, the color mana hex crawl kit. I don't know. It's not going to be hexes. It's going to be squares. I don't know what to call it other than hex crawl. It's absolutely breaking my brain that I can't figure out what it's supposed to be. Let's see. Do I have all my... Yeah. Why do I feel like I'm missing bits? I totally feel like I'm missing bits. What is... Thank you. I'm like, what the hell is missing? Why can't I find any crystals? The crystals. The crystals. That is good. Dark reference. Nope. Wait, this one is better even more. Oh, that is nice and dark. 9 o'clock. It's time to rock. I've got about a half hour left in me tonight. No problem. Just keep pushing the ball down the field. I'm going to drop in new pages into the exploration book for Spelljammer tomorrow morning. So anyone that's interested in seeing how the Spelljammer book is coming along, God, I'm proud of that book. It is a good-looking book, and I am learning a lot of great lessons on design that I think is going to make this adventure amazing. So I am very much looking forward to that progress, but it takes time, so we're taking the time to do it right. It's not like I'm churning out a ton of these things. I have to print them or anything. It's blessed. Oh, I've got some updates I need to do. Stuart Braz has some new edit updates that are awaiting resolution that I believe I'll be able to kick through and complete this weekend. So I'll stream Andy's book cover in the morning. I'll log out. I'll then go through Stuart's edits and include comments there. I have Curse of Strahd. I play Curse of. I'm a player for 3 hours every other week on a Saturday, and it's a Curse of Strahd campaign. I've never ran Curse of Strahd. I know there's tons of content for it, but I've never looked at any of it because I knew I would eventually play it. Like, it would be a game I actually play. And it's come true, so I'm not playing in it. So I'm experiencing things for the first time. And so far, it's jank as fuck. There's bad people all over the place trying to be just bad people. And it's we've just began hex crawling around, looking for stuff. Apparently, there's a wedding dress that we need to go fetch for somebody, and it feels like a horrible trap. But that's adventuring in a nutshell. Yo, stick your neck out, see what clamps on. And good luck. But we're having fun with it. We're pitching L'Oreal beauty products to everyone that we see. That's our team patron. We got an extra 200 gold at character creation because we took on L'Oreal as our adventuring patron. So whenever we meet merchants along the way or people that have that are in like a well-to-do or aristocratic level lifestyle, we have to pitch product to them because there's a chance as a merchant or as an aristocrat they're going to buy it. So that's the deal that we make. Spread the word of L'Oreal. We have we're starting we're starting a rivalry with the Revlon werewolves that are running around inside of Barovia. It's pretty fucking legendary. This team, I swear, this team that I'm playing with, they are so prone to shenanigans. It is amazing, and it is a joy and a privilege to be part of this hijinks. It is a legit fun campaign. And the roles are as bullshit and miraculous as you would expect it to be from characters that don't give a shit. That's the magic. It's chaos magic. If you know the rules of chaos magic, is you put out the idea as that'd be a cool what if, and then you just never give a crap, and you just go for broke. Like the most successful instance or occasions of me being a YOLO gamer that gave zero fucks, and just as a result of it pulling off the most miraculous dice was during the 4E era, during like 2000, I want to say like 2007 or 8. That feels right. I was playing the 4th edition mechanics version of Gamma World. And those characters were built to be thrown away. Like, it takes 3 minutes to make a 20th level character. It's like you are done. Most of it's just all random. Like, whenever you roll a 1, you get random random mutant powers, unless you don't get mutant powers, in which case you always find 2 pieces of gear when you loot instead of 1. Each character pulls their own loot numbers when you're looting bodies as a group. And yeah, every time you roll a 1, you get a random mutation, and you can keep if it's a sustained mutation. This is where Martial Powers got these ideas about mutations. I'd completely forgotten about it. Honestly, literally, until right now, I had not realized that these cards is where I was pulling the mechanics from the Martial Power system that I'm using right now, because it has cards that are once and done instant effects. When you use it, the card is done. You lose that psychic power. When you finish a long rest, or when you roll a natural 1, you'll get another one that you can spend anytime you want. But if it's a sustained effect, you'll be able to keep it for however long you maintain it for. And when it's over, then boop, it's gone. And then you'll get a new random one. You can't get a new mutation while you're maintaining one. Until higher levels, you can maintain and acquire multiple mutations at the same time, and you start stacking gear quicker. And gear is like mutations that have a recharge die. So after, like if you roll a 5 or above on this piece of gear, it'll work, but each time you use it, you roll a 6-sided die, and once you hit a 5 or above, it's done. So it's got great mechanics, super fast, loose, liquidy mechanics that are super good, and no one knows about it. But apparently that's where I pulled a lot of my color mana and martial power ideas from, and I never realized that until literally this conversation, like right now. It just got fed to me. Did you remember that you saw that? I'm like, oh my god, that's 100% true. That's super cool. I love that. What a redemption arc. I bet color mana as a resource using 4E mechanics would be pretty fucking cool. I bet that would be neat. I don't know. I think I'm good with the crystals. I'm good with the blood. Let's go fetch us some Letharia. Commons. Letharia. Duplicate. There we go. That texture underneath makes it fade in really nicely. It breaks up the pattern. I should probably put more blood splatters here to help conceal that patterning a little bit more, because I can really feel how it's blending in here, and it feels right. It feels right. I like that. Moss token. Let's duplicate that. I need more liquid. Not a liquid. Super. Super duper, Dad. Yeah, that feels good. I can duplicate. No. I don't know what I pressed there. I didn't trust it. Duplicate. Bring this stuff over. Just poke myself in the nose. Looks like I was picking it, but I swear to you, just a poke in my nose. So that's concealing the arrow. I totally want to have this here, though. That is the absolute nice. That actually works. When we go in, we break the structure and rebuild the doors. We'll just make sure this door is going to stay closed, and the arrow obviously indicates that it can swing open. So all we have to do is just reposition that arrow, and that'll be good to go. This one too, since the door's closed, and this one needs to be it's closed. So this door's closed, this door's closed. They're closed in there. So we should probably pile up more stuff here. Popping my neck. There we go. That feels pretty good there. We can take this and we can pull that down here. Let's give it a twist. These look great. I am very happy with these tokens. And then we drop the skeletons, 1, 2, 3, into here. And we put a couple skeletons in here, the fresh dead, and stack them up along over here. 3 in here, 7 in here. 11, 14, 9, 14. I think we did it. Like, I'm happy with that. I'm content with that for now. For now. Well, as we continue building, we may find flavor changes, but let's check down a little bit further. Mayor's living area. I think we finished it. Oh my god. Wowzer Bendozi. I think we'll come back and blow out the black and white version of it when we actually build the asset packet zip file for it when the adventure is actually done. We finish the adventure, we seal up the PDF, and then that goes up on DMsGuild, and when you make and you can see the preview of it, you can read the PDF, but when you purchase it, it has a zip file that it's included with, which will have all the maps, all the tokens, the creatures, the handouts, the black and white and the color versions of the maps, black and white and color versions of all the tokens. So that's all stuff that you'll get to make for quality of life. And hopefully that'll make it easy for us to upload it into Roll20 and to be able to offer Roll20 as an asset as well for people to be able to grab and download. Or I'll need to figure out how to do that stuff and if it makes sense for me to do it or if I can actually afford to hire someone to do it for me. We'll see how that shit shakes out. But that's a path that we can take. And there's my timer. So this is where we're at. We're done for now. When we come back next week on Monday, yes, on Monday. When we come back on Monday, we will. I know we have to make tokens for this area. So we have ghoul tokens, horse tokens, dead villager tokens, fresh dead tokens, and long dead tokens. But these are all tokens we have to build anyway to make the game work. So that's and wild dog tokens and sick dog tokens. So there's like 8 tokens that we have to build for here. And if you see my Spelljammer Combat and Exploration art stream, like around episode, I think 110, you'll see me building out all the tokens for all the creatures and NPCs that are in Light of Xeraxis. So that's there for you. Enjoy. I'm done for the night. I'll be back tomorrow morning to continue working on the Rim World for the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration art. And so if you thought this shit was cool, you're catching me in the future. Thanks a lot for hanging out. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers. That's my first benchmark. I've got a kit of brushes that I use in Photoshop for all these effects that you're watching me do. So when I get to 500 subscribers, I'll provide that for free on my Patreon for folks that want to pick it up. It's like an ASB file or whatever those things are. I think it works in Krita. I think it works in Clipart Studio as well. But it's the default brush file management system in Photoshop, so it should work for you well if you're interested in having that. So hey, thanks a lot for being here, guys. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you in like 9 hours. So later, Gators.